Hmm.
Well, prepare to be amazed because I honestly expected this episode to get at least a couple spots higher. But number 8. Darth Vader versus Obito Uchiha.
What?
Oh,
Wait, what?
wow. How did this not get higher?
Huh?
Well, I'll tell you
That
how because this episode got number 6
really?
for ZDogg and number 9 for the rest of us. Um,
What?
Oh,
I
shit.
is. I
believe me, I was
okay.
believe me, I was surprised too. Um,
Huh.
Wow. Okay.
I
um,
was not expecting myself to be ranked this the highest, but okay.
God dang it. Son of a bitch.
so Richard, you and I have this at the exact same spot.
Yeah. We'll go. We'll take turns. Okay. Look, this is another. It's the same fucking thing with Gojo versus Makima. So I originally was fighting for the longest time to put this at number 8 or number 9, and unfortunately, if what is after the if my number 8 is after this, then yeah, that's pretty much gonna justify. That's gonna explain why. But okay, I love this. I keep saying this. I love this fucking episode. I am first of all so fucking happy that the big G is back. Like Papa Vader is back, and he's here to do some lightsaber spanking. So I love that we did get this.
Phrasing.
Well, yeah, yeah. Thank you. I do love that we got to see him come back and get a much updated analyses. That's actually one of my favorites. That they not only covered hit Vader's analysis well, but they also did a great job with Anakin Skywalker. They really, really nailed it, in my opinion. And I also appreciated how they refrained themselves from making obvious, stupid prequel jokes like they did many years ago. And also too, just great seeing Vader back. Period. That's it. I've said this many, many times, but I did not get far enough into Shipputin, to learn about Obito. But I did like hearing about him. I loved learning about Naruto characters in Shipputin, so that was very fun. I do see the thematical reasons why they chose this pairing, and it made sense. And it's also, I feel like they're. I also just want to say their Naruto, the way they handled the Naruto analysis, it feels like it is getting better and better. How it was many years ago. Um, and then there's the animation. Okay, the animation. It's Devil Artemis's last time using Source Filmmaker for Death Battle, and him and David, my boy, who got to come back, he did a great job. Yeah, it may be only 3 minutes, but holy shit, does it go through everything perfectly? Like it hits all of the notes, and we actually get to see battle damage Vader. We get to see battle damage Obito, and choosing to end it where we actually get to see the return of Obito and Anakin Skywalker for the end. That was very, very powerful. I loved that. That was really solid. And yeah, also to big shout out to them for getting my boy Nicholas Andrew Louis to come back to play Madara slash Obito for this. I loved hearing his Madara voice again and hearing his take on Obito from what I kind of remember him sounding like. And also too for them pulling the 180 on us. Ironically, Bro and I talked about this for who they got to play Vader. I love that Jason came back. He still sounded more fantastic than ever. And yeah, no, this episode is awesome. Do I give two shits on whether or not Obito haters or Naruto fans say that Obito should not have had the God Tree because that takes preparation and that is something that is not in his standard arsenal and it requires specific conditions, blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit. I liked it. Whether or not that's accurate, that's not for me to decide. So, yeah, I like this episode. I am sad that I couldn't, it had to lose out at number 8. It couldn't make my number 8, but you know, hey, it made my number 9, and I'm at least happy that it did get this high.
Well, for me, really the only thing I have to add is that I still have my earlier reservations about the way they explained why Obito won. Now the concept of Obito winning, I don't have a problem with it. Even though the only problem is that A, I prefer Vader, and B, I was betting on him to win. But you know, as someone who was betting on Vader, I just wasn't satisfied enough with the reasoning. But other than that, I have next to no problem with this episode. It's the analyses are great. I love the like. I mentioned that one comic panel for Vader when we were discussing this episode, and I love that they included it. That you know, all I'm surrounded by is fear and dead men. It's like that's still one of my favorite that's still one of my favorite Vader panels, Vader quotes ever. So I'm glad they had that in there at least once. Yeah, the Obito analysis was really good. I like them. I like how they can like Naruto characters are like so varied that whenever they use a Naruto character, it feels different from the last one. It's like even though both Obito and Madara are Uchihas, they managed to make Obito's analysis feel very different from Madara's, which I appreciate. And the fight, it's really pretty to look at. I when I watched because I was at RTX for this when they showed the extended preview. So when I saw Vader containing the tailed beast bomb, I was like, oh shit, okay. I even told Ben, when I met up with him immediately after the panel, I was like, you know, I actually kind of somewhat popped off when I saw that. So good job for that. And then yeah, both Jason and Nick do great. The music is really good too. Yeah, you gotta get the Uchiha riff. It's gotta be in there. And this one made it a little different. It actually made it kind of like the backbone of the entire track. It's like if you play this track at times 1.5 speed or whatever, you'll hear it. It's basically the like I said, it's the backbone of the track. It's there basically the entire time. And yeah, I too really liked the ending. With basically letting Vader get the life he honestly deserves. I know some people have kind of pointed out like man, it really was disrespectful for Obito to give him that and then like kill him immediately after. But from my very, very, very limited experience with Naruto, if I remember correctly, the like time works in the Tsukuyomi very differently than how it does outside.
Yeah, you can live out your entire life in the fraction of a second, of a second. So
yeah,
the moments and the amount of time it took Obito to kill him, he probably lived out his entire life with.
Yeah. So there you go. So honestly, it was more like respectful for Obito than anything else. Yeah, this fight has a very good theme of like both of them kind of acknowledge each other as like, man, our lives just suck. like that's basically what their dialogue is to each other. It's like, man, your life kind of sucks. Like, yeah, so does yours. So by the end, they were basically trying to like put each other out of their misery. Like, well, if one of us is gonna continue our sucky lives, I'd rather it not be you.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's really all I have to say about this episode. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad Vader got an episode worth a damn.
Same.
So yeah, I don't really have anything more to comment on this episode. So ZDogg, hi. How do you have this one higher?
That's a fantastic question, and I would like to know that myself. I don't know, honestly. Like, I mean, obviously, I can't answer that in comparison, but like, I just like looking back, like, I just found this one really cool. Honestly, like you guys said, both analyses were really solid. I really enjoyed the coverage of both. They showed Finny some footage. Of course, I had to bring that up. Yeah, really got me in even more invested in both stories. The fight is really good. Oh my gosh. Yeah, just very solid moments. Like, you know, the Vader grabbing Obito's mask and turning into Padme. Oh my gosh. That shot, man. What a shot to end off the preview at. Oh my gosh.
I still remember watching the preview for the first time. I'm like the official preview, and I'm like, wow, they ended it there. Because I knew what happens immediately after. So I'm like, oh my god, okay, cool.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, just a lot of cool moments, a lot of cool character moments in the fight. Great dialogue delivered by great performances. Like, oh my gosh. Great. Also great to see now back in general, just saying. Yeah, I mean, I really don't know what I can say what you guys haven't said already. It's just an amazing fight that just a great send-off to Devil Artemis animating solo. And yeah, I mean, I really wish I could say more than what you guys did. It's just a fantastic episode, and, you know, glad both got, you know, an episode to be proud of. So, yeah. Seriously, how did I have this ranked higher than you guys?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Like now I'm genuinely. You know what? I'll just chalk it up to this season being really hard to rank.
Yeah, that's probably it.
But still, no, fantastic. Fantastic work all around.
I'll give it a teaser because there's an episode that we haven't talked about yet. There's one coming up that I think you might be a little surprised that I ranked higher than this one. Anyways, so John, what was it like for you to work on Darth Vader?
I hate his mask.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
if you've seen my boards, you see that I just made him Cobra Commander, and I said, screw it.
That's fair. You know, we're back. You and I are back to the armor. Oh man, we haven't even talked about that episode yet.
Oh yeah. But as a fight as a whole, I'm happy that I was able to do that fight. I was frankly shocked that Obito won, and I'm not gonna give horse in the mouth. I've been looking for Naruto victories for a while. So it's like I kind of understand their reasoning, and I understand other people not understanding the reasoning. I'm just kind of like, I love Obito. He's a really misunderstood character because of the situation with Rin and all that sort of stuff. So overall, my contribution to any Naruto fight is always good. I'm also was it like 4 for 4 of me working for Death Battle and having to mention something about Naruto to various people in the circle to be like, hey, by the way, did you know they could do this? And apparently they didn't know that.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah, I like this fight. It was fun.
All right.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. To add extra context, I meant like the ending. The ending was like super different in the script, and it was due to brainstorming with the rest of the guys about how to actually end the fight. And then I brought up the Sword of Nobuko. They thought the Sword of Nobuko was like a regular sword. It's not. The thing's huge. So they were planning to have the sword fight in the middle of the scuffle when he first becomes Sage Six Paths. And I just changed it to make it the staff and use the Sword of Nobuko to end the fight, since it's technically worked, since that's its ultimate in the Ultimate Storm games. There you go.
All right. All right. So with that, we're finally out of we're finally out of ties. There are no more ties for the rest of this ranking.
Oh my god.
One boy.
But now we're getting okay. So we're at number 7. And to a lot of the audience, well, it might be understandable the more you think about it. Just hearing it might seem a little weird that this episode got as low as it did. Number 7. Is Galactus versus Unicron.
Interesting.
So now I know how ZDogg feels having his top 3 be pretty low.
Sorry.
What dastardly devil could have done this? Oh, well, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah.
So this is number.
Anyway, next.
You are not escaping this one, my friend, Mr. Number 13.
Me?
No, this is
me.
ZDogg.
Oh, okay.
ZDogg has
Yeah, you're
number
good.
13.
Well, yeah, I remember.
Richard had it at number 7. I had it at number 2. Am I
Number 2?
ZDogg, ZDogg, the gun is pointed straight at your head. You might as well explain yourself before the bullet comes out. I'm kidding.
Okay. All right. So again, I feel like this.
Just make it quick. We're approaching 3 hours.
Okay, I'll try. All right, so yeah, I won't lie. This and my number 12 are probably going to be the two most controversial spots on my list, and I apologize. All right, so why is this fight down here for me? I can't deny all of its good spots. Like, I find the analysis very entertaining. Learning about both these two, getting more in depth on who they are and why they're fucking terrifying. I liked all that. I liked the cutaway gags. I liked, yeah. Overall, just very solid. The fight looks beautiful. I can't even pretend to deny that. The vocal performances were on point. I know that might get some controversial things from Transformers fans, but whatever. So
Nobody sounds like Orson Welles. It's fine.
exactly. Yeah. Fair enough. So why is this so low for me? Aside from just okay, well, I'll give a little more of an explanation than just I prefer the others. Listen, it's beautiful, but it's kind of in the same vein. Well, I can't even say that. That's a bad comparison. Never mind. I guess just in layman's terms, whatever. I don't know. Just I was entertained by the other fights this season because what they like. I like the fight. The fight here is great. I like what happens in it. It's just. It also just kind of feels like there's also not a lot happening. Like, yeah, there's a lot of cool moments, like freaking Unicron using the galaxy, a black hole as a freaking, sucker punch. That's raw. And Galactus, thwarting away a sun. That's pretty raw. But I don't know. I guess just the action, like in comparison to everything else, just the action is just kind of there for me. Like, it's not bad. It's just in comparison to everything else, I just prefer what the other episodes managed to do with their fight in comparison to this. I mean, yeah, that's basically it. Like, again, it's not a bad episode, not in the slightest. It's just, I don't know. I just preferred the action in other episodes in comparison to this one. Like, again, fight again looks beautiful. Like, the voice actors did a great job. The track is really solid. It's just, just was more entertained by the action in the other episodes more, if that makes any sense. So that's about as quick as I can make it, without, dragging on. But if you need me to elaborate on more, I can later.
Yeah, maybe. All right, Richard, now it's your turn. Again, please be concise.
I will be as concise as possible. All right, I'm not going to repeat everything I said in the last episode we did.
Literally,
you
the
look
last
up.
episode.
Yeah. You look up beautiful and visually stunning in the dictionary. You see this episode, and I think that's about as. I think that says it all. It is it is the best looking death battle animation in terms of a 3D one, like, of all time. It is a top contender for one of the best season finales. The analyses, like ZDogg said, they're very good. The way they explored the dualities of both characters, one who must eat planets, otherwise he dies, and the universe just goes into total shit. Whereas the other one is just straight up the robot version of Satan. And I do like how they approach these two on a conceptual level, because that's the thing. These are not people, they're concepts. And I do like how they approached it. The animation, yeah, again, before we started this, Bro and I were watching it, and we were just literally having fun quoting it. It's still a great time, no questions asked. There's a lot of stunning stuff going on. The voice actors do a great job, really great job. The track is so goddamn amazing to listen to. I have warmed up to it on its own. And I do agree with the analysis. Yeah, it's a clear cut, concise episode. The problem is for me is that once again, there's no substance, and there's none of the stuff that I come to love from a finale, other than the beauty of it. But that being said, I think this episode is fucking awesome. It really is awesome. It may be number 7 on my list, but it's very close to being in my top 3 favorite season finales, like, of all time. So yeah, it is. It's good. It's very good. I'm happy that the end of the era is now over, and after 13 years of waiting, we got it. And now it feels like we have to start over and take a new path with Death Battle in terms of where we go from here.
Well,
all right, Mr. Transformers fan, you're up.
I was literally just about to open this up with, as probably the diehard Transformers fan here. Yeah. I mean, really, the only thing I can really comment on is that I guess I'm really only sad that Unicron lost because I'm a Transformers fan. Like, as a character, he's just kind of there, but like you said, they're more concepts than characters. Other than that, like, I do see why people aren't, like, big on the whole thing of, like, oh, there's not really a lot of interesting choreography. They're really just punching each other, shooting lasers at each other. I could comment that they also, like, straight up throw galaxies at each other, which is, like, as raw as you're gonna get, but okay, whatever. I have seen people, like, okay, I think what I want to cover, because anything I could cover that I did like about this episode, I literally did in the episode that came out, like, last week as we're recording this, so just go watch that. But I want to comment on, like, some critiques I've heard about this episode since then. For one, yeah, like I was saying, the choreography is not the most interesting, but at the same time, I don't know. I get that they both have some, like, pretty crazy, like, abilities and arsenals, but at the same time, I really don't. I don't know. Maybe I'm being, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess I just feel like
pessimistic.
Not pessimistic. I feel like this, like, all the, like, crazier abilities and arsenals are something I just don't think people are actually here for. At least, like, in a general sense, I should say. It's like some casual Joe Schmo that ran into this episode while scrolling through YouTube one day is not going to watch this episode and think, oh yeah, I would love to see Unicron, like, possess Galactus, or at least make the attempt to possess Galactus. No, you're here to watch two giant cosmic entities, like, throw hands, and that's what you got. It's like, I wasn't expecting some, like, deep, crazy choreography. I was expecting, a fight on a galactic scale, and I got that. I got exactly what I came here for. And the other thing is, this one's a little strange to me, but I guess even though I am a huge Transformers fan, but I've not really taken a lot of time to familiarize myself with the comics, with, like, the comics or manga. But outside of that, like, I've seen the 86 movie. Of course I've seen the 86 movie. I've seen Armada, I've seen Energon, I've seen Prime, like, basically any movie or TV show or video game that Unicron is in, I've probably watched or played it. So it was a little weird to me to see a lot of people talk about how they weren't a fan of how Unicron was characterized in this episode. And again, one complaint I do understand is that they don't play into the idea of, like, you know, Galactus does what he does as like a necessity, whereas Unicron does it because he is literally evil personified. Like, they don't really play into that contrast very much, which I guess I understand. But to say that Unicron wasn't characterized very well is honestly kind of bizarre to me. Because, like, I don't know, again, maybe there's something from the comics or the manga that I don't know, but I always pictured Unicron as, I don't know, he's evil, and he doesn't have much of a personality. He's just, I eat planets, I am evil. The end. Or at the very least, that's what he's like in the movie, which is where a lot of inspiration is pulled from, clearly. Yeah, I don't know. That was always kind of weird to me. But other than that, you know, I mean, even regardless of, like, oh yeah, the choreography's not the greatest or all that, like, any complaints I could have, I feel like they're kind of I feel like they're almost null and void, because, man, this fight is gorgeous. Like, I don't think any work that can be done on just how the fight looks, I don't think the praises can be sung enough about that. Like, it is crazy how good this episode looks. I think both voice actors do great. You know, I know that Brett Mukai doesn't exactly sound like Orson Welles, but to be fair, who does? He does fine as Unicron. He sounds like how he sounds like how I could imagine Unicron sounds if I hadn't watched the '86 movie. Wolf Williams, again, you know, I said this last year, but, you know, award for coolest name for a voice actor. Comes back as Galactus, and he sounds like Galactus. It's good enough for me. The track is really good. I like it a lot. I understand that a lot of people aren't a big fan of the fake out, but I honestly am kind of glad that they don't just end it with the ultimate nullifier, because that is such a boring way to win. So it's like, oh, well, it's technically technology, so let's have Unicron possess it. It's like, that seems cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, really, I think the novelty of this fight is that it is gorgeous, and B, it exists. Like, we finally have Galactus versus Unicron, and we can watch it, and it's good. It's like, that's something I like. You think about that, and you're like, wow, it like for longtime fans, you're like, wow, this fight actually exists now. Wow, that's weird. Like, that's weird to think about. But anyways, no, I still really like this episode. Well, the rain's here. The storm. A storm is approaching. Oh God. That's.
You might want to make sure that you can back up this file, just in case.
But John, how did it feel for you? Finally tackling this legendary match.
Oh, well, I'm about to get in trouble then.
Oh no.
I am not part of the fan base that wanted Galactus vs. Unicron. I get why the fight's popular. Do not get me wrong. I understand why people love this fight. But as someone who fell out of Transformers and also is not the biggest Marvel fan, especially when it comes to Galactus, somebody that I always just fought in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, that's my only real exposure to him as a Matarasu of all fucking characters. I didn't really like care too much about this fight personally. Cole versus Alex was my, like, I need this fight to be done in death battle kind of thing. I'm happy that we got both these fights in this season, so we both were able to satiate a particular want for death battle to do these particular fights. I do, however, have to say I thoroughly enjoyed drawing the fight. It was one of my longer fights I was able to do, and it was one of the fights I was able to like suitably have my fantasy of Seaman versus Kyle in the giant fight. So you got me there. so I have a soft spot for the episode as a whole.
What was it like drawing Unicron? I can't imagine that was very fun.
Thankfully, I was able to like just find like a decent like way to just draw him that is like clearly that's Unicron. I gave him a face where he smiles, because that's just what I do.
That's all you need. You gave him a face.
Yeah. But yeah, that's basically it. It was also fun just drawing Galactus' doofy ass helmet.
Yeah. Good.
All right.
All right.
So moving on to number 6. This is I imagine this is gonna have some fun reactions.
Oh, that means probably not good things for me.
Well, before I announce it, Richard, how you doing? You're kind of muted still.
I'm doing good. Why do
All
you
right,
laugh?
cool.
Wait a minute. Oh no! If this is what I think it is, I'm gonna fucking kill somebody.
Okay, to be clear, I mostly did that just to make sure I get your reaction to hearing what number 6 is.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not gonna be happy, am I?
That depends. All
right. Well,
number 6 with 20 points. Frieza versus Megatron.
Oh my god. But still, what the hell?
interesting.
We're going from one Transformers fight to another.
Yep.
Oh boy. Alright, I get to talk about this one again.
Yep,
anyways.
but probably not before me.
No, definitely not before you. So this is number 12, I think. Yeah, number 12 for ZDogg. Number 5 for me, and number 3 for Richard.
Oh wow. Okay. Damn. Okay. I'm sorry.
But you know what?
You bastards.
Because
you
okay.
kept my number 3 from getting the top 5.
You know what? Because of my I'm making it sound worse than it actually is. Because of my interesting situation with this episode, I'm going to go last. I'm gonna put that down right now. So but anyway, ZDogg, you were gonna go first regardless. So
I was gonna say regardless. Yeah, I'm the one going first. So whoopsies. All right. Again, I feel like I need to.
No, I'll go last. Gotta take care of some stuff, so I'll go last. Sorry.
God damn it. Okay. Anyways, regardless, ZDogg, go.
Whatever. Regardless, I'm the one going first. So okay. All right. So again, I feel like this is one that I need to cover my ass with. Remember, low does not equal bad. It's just I feel like that needs to be stated for this one because, again, I really like this one. It's really fun. And why I ranked it so low may not be the reason you think. Which I guess is the first thing I'll talk about, so screw it. I don't know. These analyses just didn't hit me this most recent time. Like, they're good. Like they're all right. It's just I don't know. There's just something about them that just bored me when watching them back. Like I don't know. Like there's some interesting stuff in it, and of course some good jokes. Like Megatron turning into a gun, funniest shit I've ever seen. But yeah, I don't know. They just didn't hit me as strong as other analyses this season. Like like Gojo Makima, my top two, Vader Obito, Rick versus Doctor as a few examples. Like, and again, it's not necessarily a bad analysis. It's just I just enjoyed a lot more of them this season than this one. The fight, however, good lord, Frieza. Yeah, this fight slaps. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the 3D team went off on this one. Like my gosh, like it just looks really good. Looks really good. It was a lot of fun and cool action. Really funny moments like the tank. Absolutely raw moments like Megatron's entire speech at the end. My gosh, that is so freaking cool. I mean, both actors, both Little Karibo and Tom Schulk absolutely killed it as Frieza and Megatron, respectively. Final Formers slaps. Like, oh my gosh, it's just so damn good. I can't stop listening to it. So yeah, overall, it's just a very, very solid episode. It's just, I guess, just the analysis that just drags it down for me, unfortunately. Which, like I said, they're not bad. They just didn't hit me as much on a repeat viewing, unfortunately. But still doesn't change my. It does change my ability to speak, apparently. My gosh. It still doesn't change that this is a very solid episode. Yeah, it's just very solid. I just like the other ones more. I don't know what else. What do you want from me? The season's hard to rank. I'm never going to say that before this list is over.
Yeah, well. Well, I was going to go last because I know I keep telling you guys to like rapid fire through this, but I actually have a lot to say on this. Okay, well, I'm just gonna get the obvious out of the way in case you remember in case you remember our previous discussion on this fight. Yes, I still disagree with the results. I'm just gonna get that out of the way. I still like my thoughts on the results have literally not changed whatsoever since we talked about this last. But I guess just as a recap, with them just going into like the G1 cartoon and the IDW comics, I agree. But it's just the exclusion of stuff like the Marvel comics and the G1 manga that I don't agree with them not including it, and with stuff from that and also stuff from like I know they had some some calculation speeds in the tab, and they were like they had some reason for why they didn't go into it. I don't remember. I feel like those would have given Megatron the win, but I digress. Other than that, it was just fun to see Transformers represented again after 5 years. Can we can we please not have that again? That was quite the gap. But anyways, my petty asking aside, I will admit I liked Frieza's analysis more than I expected to upon rewatch. It's still kind of by the numbers, but I was still like relatively entertained by it. Megatron's on the other hand, gonna be honest, even though I have my like disagreements here and there, just the way Megatron's analysis was written, it's honestly probably my favorite analysis of the season. Yes, I'm being serious. Like just the way they managed to like squeeze the two together, even though they're not quite the same continuity, but that's it. That is long story. We don't have time for that. Anyways, it was fun to hear them talk about Megatron. It was fun to hear them talk about Transformers in general. The fight is a banger. Like no matter what way you look at it, I know again some hardcore Transformers fans are going to be like, oh, but like it doesn't really give you a good idea of how Megatron fights. Like Megatron in the cartoon is not really a Dragon Ball character. He's not going to fight like a Dragon Ball character. I honestly don't give a shit. Like speaking as a Transformers fan, I don't care. It was fun. It's hype. That's really what I want. It's hype. Yes, it would have made more sense if it was a different version of Megatron, and that's where I'm gonna leave it at. I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, both voice actors do great. That speech that Megatron gives is one of my favorite line deliveries in this entire season. And the fact that I know again it's gonna. People are going to be like, the community is going to be the community and just be like, oh, but Frieza has like armies across the universe or whatever. That's not the point. The point is that it was meant to agitate Frieza, who, by the way, in case you didn't know, it is really easy to get on Frieza's bad side. It is really easy to piss Frieza off. Which is really the entire point of what Megatron was doing, and it worked. So by all accounts, and I'm gonna take from Liam when I say this. In my heart, the fight ends with the antimatter because it by all accounts, Megatron won the mental victory. That's for sure. So let's get that last bit of copium in there and say that the fight ends with the antimatter. But even without that, the death was fine. I have nothing against it. I just, again, like everything after the antimatter is kind of where things start to fall apart for me. Not necessarily because it's bad, just because of my own personal takes, but yeah, I know it's probably a little surprising for me to be like, yeah, this is in the top 5, even though I have my reservations, but it just kind of goes to show that just because I disagree with the results doesn't mean the episode is bad.
Something more than meets the eye.
Yeah, that's true. But okay, Richard. I honestly didn't have as much to say on it as I thought I did. But anyways,
I will say that this episode is one of my favorite 3D fights of the season. It's one of the best written episodes of the season. In terms of what it does for the characters, mainly in the fight. So yeah, getting it out of the way, yes, I do see the flaws this episode has with how it covers Megatron. And ultimately, Black Frieza was completely unnecessary. He really didn't do anything in the grand scheme of things. But I know that they had to include him because then the community, this fucking community, would have bitched and complained until the cows came home and jumped over the moon.
You feel that they didn't do that already for this episode.
Exactly. So from an analysis portion, I really love how they tackled and handled Frieza and Megatron. Granted, it's G1 Megatron. It's a very basic version of G1 Megatron. And I am sad, bro, that we didn't get more of G1. But from what we did get, I feel like at the very least, it was good enough for me. and especially with how the edits are done, the edits are really popping off in this episode. I cannot lie. And I love how each of their stories end with one is now the strongest character in his universe, surpassing the main protagonist, and the other one redeemed himself after he realized, hey, the fighting used to mean something. Holy shit, I've become what I hate. And he redeems himself. The animation, though, is where I really, really start to shine on this episode. It is fantastic. For Devil Artemis's first Blender fight for Death Battle, solo, he did a great job. The effects, the models, the choreography, it's all top notch. I've been following him for a long, long time, and I can tell you that his Blender skills are exactly as they are advertised in this episode. They are that damn good when he does a fight sequence. I also love just how the characters really are a main factor in here in terms of their writing, the objective, the goals, and how Cybertron is used. It's not just a background planet. No, it actually plays a purpose in this episode. It's animation, and I love that. I also want to say that the ending is, like Bro said, it's so fucking good. This might be my favorite banter or confrontation that we've seen. Having it end with the antimatter and Frieza escaping barely with his life, but he's not only damaged physically but mentally, and Megatron will now live rent-free in his head for the rest of his lifespan. I love that. That's a great way to make up for the little not so good moments for Megatron in the analyses, especially with what they used for him, in my opinion. Little Karibo and Tom Shulk did a fantastic job as these characters. I legitimately popped off hearing Tom as Megatron. I did not know he could do Megatron this well, and I loved it. He was probably the best character of the two. And Little Karibo's Frieza, he's entertaining, he's fun to watch. I am happy that they acknowledged him, because he is one of the best Frieza voice actors working right now. And also the track, Final Formers, it's a solid fucking track. Just like Inhuman, I listened to this track on repeat throughout the whole day before the fight came out. I could not get enough of it. It sounds like it came from the 86 movie. And yeah, I love it.
Nice.
All right. So John, what input do you have, if any, really?
As I said before, me and Transformers were kind of like died off a bit, but I can't say G1 Megatron was something I was familiar with when growing up. When it comes to Frieza, and now he's one of my favorite villains in Dragon Ball as a whole, it's great. It just sucks that the whole thing with his, new form was basically just used as a palette swap in the fight, and that's about it.
I mean, to be fair, that's about on brand with Black Frieza.
I mean, that's like kind of the problem. Remember when people got on the Death Battle's case when they did Goku vs. Superman 2, and they didn't at all know how powerful Super Saiyan Blue was supposed to be?
True.
It's the same kind of situation here. I get it. It's basically a palette swap of Super Saiyan if you just look at it like that for Super Saiyan Blue. But the whole point is waiting to see what it can do, to then scale it properly to see what it can and can't do. That's where I'm at. I get that we're not going to have to, we can't wait another 5 years to see what Black Frieza is going to do, because that's pretty much what we're going to be doing, according to what the manga's doing right now.
That's pretty much what's going to happen.
But it doesn't change the fact that I personally just don't like the fact that my favorite villain got a new form, and at this point, all we can do with it is he transforms into it. That's it.
Cool.
He transforms
Hey,
into it,
forever.
then nearly dies.
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, yeah. But yeah,
He
all in all,
transforms.
good fight.
He transforms into it, dies, except not really, and then wins.
Yeah.
The end.
Essentially, yeah, essentially, it was like cool.
Who knows? Maybe Frieza will get another chance to show it off further.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think we're finally getting out of the, I would call the filler movie arc of the.
Yeah.
So,
I just wish. I wish more recent Dragon Ball transformations would actually do something other than be like, oh yeah, they're palette swaps and they're more powerful.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
yeah, it's just a stat stick.
yeah, it's like I mean, I wasn't like big on Dragon Ball growing up, but I still like when I first watched, even though I knew the context like already, when I first watched Goku go Super Saiyan, I was like, oh holy shit, okay. But then they just kept like, then there was another Super Saiyan form, and then another one, and then another one, and then God came in and then did basically nothing. Like it doesn't add anything new. And then Blue comes in and it's the exact same thing. When Ultra Instinct was announced, I was like, oh, hold on, there's actually something unique here. And then they made it its own form, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then like Ultra Ego Vegeta, like, okay, cool, he's got a new form, and it's a power boost, but it does a new ability. What does he do?
Kinda.
Does he do anything cool with it? No? Alright,
No.
cool. Like,
All he does is take damage and then try to deal it back, but it's like he still feels the damage, so he can still get knocked out.
And now
gotta-
Goku
gotta
has
let that
a
motion.
new version of Ultra Instinct called
Of course
True
he
Ultra
does.
Instinct.
Yeah, it's kind of like the other Ultra Instinct, but new.
Yeah,
course
but
he-
cool.
Goku, but this is Goku using it without having it be a transformation.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like,
Yeah,
it's like I just wish, like with Black Frieza, like I wish it gave Frieza new abilities.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
as far as we know, he probably has a new ability. He probably has, like, you know, like shadow abilities, and he can, like, summon shadows from the distance. We don't know. We don't know. All he did was one-shot the main characters and left.
It's like he one-shots the main characters, kills the main baddie of
The
the
main
arc,
bad
and then
guy.
leaves.
And then leaves. That's why I like Frieza.
It's like, okay,
Cool.
cool, thanks.
Yeah.
Modern Dragon Ball is fun that way. Anyways,
Yeah.
well, we'll come back to Dragon Ball later. But for now, we have now entered the top 5.
Yep. Tis time.
Indeed. So, at number 5, with 19 points, gonna be honest, again, I mean, actually, you know what, I will say, this episode, I feel like I understand its placement with, like, hindsight, but when it came out, oh, man.
And instantly, I know what it is.
Yeah, I think you do. All right, number 5. Dark Souls versus Skyrim.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, you know, kind of expect, you know, when it came out, I think we all expected it to rank relatively high, but
Yeah.
you know, top 5 is pretty good.
Yeah, top 5 is nothing to sneeze at.
Nope.
What might be is where certain people rank.
I was about to say, and then you look at our individual rankings and you realize that ZDogg had it at number 11.
Oh, ZDogg.
I'll listen.
And then Richard at number 5. Richard at number 5, and me at number 3.
At number okay. Oh, great.
I'll have an anecdote for literally the next episode we're going to be talking about.
All right. Well, you know what? I think all this comeuppance is that my number 1 is probably coming next, so don't worry. But you know, that's in about however long it takes to talk about this episode. So let's get into doing that, shall we? I'll try not to. So yeah, very, very solid episode overall, I gotta say, you know, obviously. Really enjoyed the analyses. Getting to hear the world and the lore of both series was very neat, and it was handled extremely well, in my opinion, as an outsider to both, for now. Fight was really fun, very epic in scale, very epic feeling. I really like what they did with their abilities here. Had a lot of fun combat. Had a lot of fun, you know, ability trading. The Chosen Undead's coming back to life was handled in a very fun way. There was a lot of epic moments, epic shots, especially the one where it's basically half of Chosen Undead's head, and that whole sword scuffle. And I mean, do I need to bring up how epic a track Fireborn is?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So yeah, overall, very solid package overall. Why don't I have it higher? Well, it's that time. It's that time, everyone. I just prefer the other episodes, aspects of the other episodes more. Like, this is even though I don't have it in the top half, it's in no way a bad episode. It's very good. It's just, you know, my interests this season lie elsewhere. And yeah, but again, please do not let that undermine how great an episode is that I think this is, and it is in general. And you know what I mean.
Okay. So I guess I go next.
Yep.
Okay. So to keep it concise and brief, if this episode had gotten done when it had, I think this would have been a kick-ass season premiere. I've said it multiple times. This episode, in my opinion, is pretty much perfect. It delivers on what it's doing. We get to see two We get to see two RPG games, and honestly, I shouldn't even say just two. I should say we're getting to see some of the best that are still being heralded to this day, and that are responsible for inspiring many, many others in the genre of modern day RPGs. I love Dark Souls. I did play a little bit of it when I was younger. Never got that far, but I loved the medieval world and the century. I love these types of games. They're very fun. I never, unfortunately, got into Elder Scrolls. It looked too expansive for me. Like, I don't like overwhelming RPGs. I like games like Dark Souls where it keeps it very linear. And that's just how I am. But I still love how the editing for this one was done, how it told the story of the characters, how it painted a picture of how you can't just play the games or watch gameplay walkthroughs to get an idea of who these characters are. You also have to play the games in order to fully understand. You also have to just look into the lore and play the games in order to understand it. The animation, I've seen a lot of people say they don't like how clunky it is, but I think that's kind of the point, is this episode pays tribute to that. These characters move like they came from their games, if that makes any sense. And also, I love Fireborn. Yeah, Fireborn is fucking amazing. All of the Death Battle fan choir, especially our boys Raptor and Red Runner, who got to be a part of this. Congrats to them. And also, I noticed this wasn't in this must not have been in the script, so this must have been you, John. But I love that. My favorite moment of this fight is just the after you see the lightning clashes between the characters, you get that nice build-up moment in the Coliseum, and you see both characters take their swords and charge at each other. I love that. So yeah, this episode is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add. I mean, on a visual front, the fight looks amazing. I do agree that I think the overall clunkiness of it was probably the point. I can see the argument that maybe it's a bit like even on that level, it might be a bit too clunky, at least at the start. But I didn't really have much issue with it. At that point, that's me trying to find something to complain about. I did like the coverage of the lore, especially on Dark Souls. I may not have been super into the game when I played it, but hearing about like all the lore is super interesting to me. So I was happy to see it get covered. I would be repeating. There'd be an echo in here if I said that I really did like Fireborn. I mean, yeah, pretty obvious. It's one of my favorite tracks of all time. What more do you want me to say? Although I will say something I think doesn't get enough credit is Tom Shock's performance as Darkstalker Kotz and Kingseeker Framped. I know that he's not I know that neither of them are combatants, and they only have 4 lines in total, but they're 4 really well delivered lines, and I just like the voice. So yeah. Yeah. Although this is probably where I get to pass it on to John. This episode gets a 0 out of 10 because it made me draw armor again.
Oh boy.
And drawing these two was freaking miserable. But anyways, how is it for you, John? Because I imagine it's funny. We were talking about when we talked about Sauron versus Lich King last year, which is still one of my favorite. Passing the mic onto you was still a highlight for me. It was so funny. But I remembered thinking about that, oh yeah, we had a lot of trouble with that, and then remembering that this fight was announced before we recorded that, and I was thinking about that, and I was like, oh god, we do have to do it again, don't we?
Oh no.
Yeah, but it was slightly better because unlike the first time, I actually know both Dark Souls and Skyrim, so I had a personal connection to it. So my drive was a little bit more there while I was doing this fight. As somebody who is platinum Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and Elden Ring.
Holy shit!
God.
All in Bloodborne. I really like the Souls franchise. I just like From Software games as a whole. I don't know if you noticed. And Skyrim was the game that many people say, yeah, it is the game. There's a reason why they re-release it a billion times, even on your freaking refrigerator. So yeah, it was cool to have these two be a fight. I'm happy that people really like it because this was Liam's passion project, and clearly it showed.
Yeah. This kickstarted the hashtag Let Liam Cook.
I'm surprised it wasn't Dio versus Alucard because he also cooked with that one.
Agreed.
That's true too. Yeah. Yeah. Dio versus Alucard was another one too.
It's just a matter of give Liam a fight that purely he's passionate in. You're gonna get good service.
Yeah. So I guess we are definitely in good hands when we get Light versus Columbo.
Yeah,
Hey,
yes, we are.
I had to mention it at least once.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, number 4. This is funny because this was another one of those. I don't know which one of these I prefer, and to be honest, at this point, this is probably the one that I'm still the least confident in my ranking. But the show must go on. Number 4, 17 points.
When it's all said and done, there can only be one. What is your inner strength? Never let them get the best of you. I pray that you find your way out of this.
Guts versus Dimitri.
Wow. Damn.
Nice.
Picking between this one and Dark Souls versus Skyrim was a struggle. Holy shit. Okay, anyways, who had this lower? Richard did. Number 8 for Richard, number 5 for ZDogg, number 4 for moi.
Wow.
Okay.
Nice.
So this is what I was fighting with for Vader versus Obito. But this ultimately won out after I gave it another watch. I am a casual Berserk fan. I have friends who are huge fans of it. I have seen a little bit of the original 90s anime. I have seen some scenes. I have never played any of the games, but I know enough about Guts. And of course, like everyone else, I was introduced to Guts back in Guts versus Nightmare, and it was very cool to see him here again. And it was, and then there's Dimitri from Fire Emblem. Yeah, so I've never played Fire Emblem, and I don't have a Nintendo Switch to do that. So yeah, I had to kind of just take this. But I loved learning about Dimitri. He seemed like a cool character, and I like him. It was fun getting to hear about Guts again. I do like how they basically just gave him a complete revamp. Because as much as I still have bias for the original analyses, it didn't do a good job of telling a good story for Guts. It was just, hey, this man has suffered, and he makes it his live. He makes a living off of making your life fucking miserable if you cross his way. And he's a badass. So I do like how there was more of a good story for him this time around. And the animation. Okay. The Blender team really, really fucking cooked with this one. Because holy shit, this episode was fucking... It was breathtaking, to say the least. I like that the interactions between the two characters. Both of their actors do a great job portraying them and giving them some dimension. And I really love the color palette. Like, I love the red with the snow whenever blood is spilled. I also just love that we finally did get to see the Berserker armor in its full glory. And I think the main thing that I know we're gonna bring up, it's the ending. I love the ending. Having Dimitri stand up and fight Guts' demons, and if Rick versus the Doctor is to be believed,
carry Guts' corpse with him wherever he goes, so he can try and get him
forgot about
healed
that.
and brought back to life. Yeah. Then holy shit. This pairing is even more better. Also, too, God's Hand. It's such a good fucking track. I know we don't talk about it that much. We haven't talked about it at all, but I really loved how the album cover art that Mr. John Mitchell did went just raw as fuck.
You don't need to butter me up. I know it was terrible.
No, I liked it.
Ugh.
I liked it. I'm sorry.
Sheesh.
Okay. But yeah, and yeah, I love the conclusion. It was very, very good. So yeah, this episode is not getting talked about enough. I've noticed it kind of just came and went. I don't know if I'm the only one who noticed that. It doesn't get that high on people's rankings, so I'm actually happy that the three of us managed to get it to number 4 on this ranking.
Just shy of the top 3.
Yep.
Hey, just like John Wick versus James Bond.
Gosh. All right. But is that all you had to say, Richard?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay. My turn. This episode has amphibia footage, so it's based. All right, bro. No, so I'm kidding. No. Okay, for real. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else I can add to the discussion. It's just a really damn good episode. Like, what more can you say? Like, I mean, I will explain, but the analyses were really fun. Glad to see Guts get another more modern coverage and better coverage than his previous episode. Going more into his character, his depth, his struggles. It was really interesting to learn about. Dimitri learning about Fire Emblem and how messed up Three Houses is, honestly. Like, I heard things about it from my friend. I don't know why I'm keeping him secret. From Kodo. Kodo's told me a lot about how messed up Three Houses is, and yeah.
Friendly reminder: this is a Nintendo game.
Yep. Yay, Nintendo. Buy the Switch today. No, okay. But yeah, just hearing about Dimitri and his struggles is really really interesting and makes me kind of want to get into Fire Emblem eventually. And also makes me a little more interested in Berserk, despite how the unsettling stuff in it. But it's fine. But anyway, yeah, really enjoyed the analyses. The fight, good. God's Hand is really good. See what? Yeah.
God damn it.
But no, it's a really breathtaking fight. Honestly, like everything looks stunning. The voice actors did an amazing job portraying both. Just so many great moments. Shout out to the kill all of them down to the last one being that one just gets me every time I watch it. It's such a good moment. God's Hand, I mean, it's really good. Among like one of my favorite tracks of the season, bar none, and that's saying a lot with how many great tracks are in this season. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much I can add without dragging on, and but it's just a really great episode. Like a very, very strong showing for the 3D team this year overall, and this is just a very strong case of that. Like, I don't know what more you want me to say. It's really great. I love it. I love coming back to this one, and yeah.
All right. Guess it's my turn. Well, I will say, right off the bat, I know I said that Megatron probably has my favorite analysis of the season, and that's still true. But Dimitri is probably pretty close second. It helps that he is such a fascinating character. Like Dimitri's story. Dimitri's story is so interesting to me. It's tragic. It's brutal. But it's amazing. That's no shade to Guts either. Like Guts' analysis is really good, and I like his character quite a bit. But really like familiarizing myself with Dimitri ahead of time, and then watching the analysis, and then like kind of familiarizing myself even further with Three Houses. Like I look upon Dimitri's analysis very fondly. But yeah, the fight is kind of where it's kind of the name of the game here. It looks really damn good. The music is great. The voice actors are great. The ending is great. I don't care what our friend Billy Bobby says. I will argue with him on this till like I regret I say that as if like he isn't the I say that as if he isn't the only person I've ever seen have a difference of opinion on the ending. But well, I guess it's less so the ending and more just the quote unquote death, I guess. Anyways, aside from that, I have like literally no problem with this episode. The only reason I rank this one like lower than Dark Souls versus Skyrim is mostly just because like, well, for one, the music carries it. Like I love God's Hand, but Fireborn is Fireborn. And yeah, I don't know. It was like apart from the music, something about Dark Souls versus Skyrim just kind of like clicked with me more. But I guess I'm pretty sure if I watched these two episodes back to back again, I probably would find myself questioning which one of these two I like more. Like of all of the like ties I had, like by the time I got to the end of the season, this was the one that was easily the hardest to figure out. Because I was like, they're both like really good, and I don't have a problem with either of them. So it's like, which one do I go with? But I totally accept this one being higher, even though I ranked the other one higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See me.
Although this one does have armor again, and suddenly I hate it here.
Now it's at the bottom of the list. Damn it.
Well, on that note, John, what was it like for you? We're tackling Berserk again. We got Fire Emblem finally. Does that resonate with you in any way, shape, or form?
Other than the fact that I am quite possibly one of the biggest Berserk fans of all time, and Guts is one of my all-time favorite characters in all of fiction. But yeah, maybe I have a little bit of connection to at least him. When it comes to Dimitri, yeah, I was a Black Eagles guy, so that it also does not help.
Damn.
Yeah, it was a fun fight. This was another one of those fights where they just sort of knew, since I cared about Guts and knew how he fought so much, they kind of just let me like kind of go ham with the boards. I added like a lot of things that weren't in the script in this fight, and yeah, I like it when I'm able to do that, because it's like, oh, sweet, input again. So yeah, I simply because I'm able to draw one of my favorite characters in fiction, even though he dies. Well, at least he dies like a badass. It makes this fight really up there for me in terms of my workload. So yeah.
All right, we're down to the wire.
All right.
It's top 3 time.
This will be very interesting compared to last year.
Oh boy.
Which one's taking? Which one's going first?
Yep.
Who's taking home the
Montage Man.
bronze?
Mm,
Number
yes.
3 with 15 points. Okay, so ZDogg had his moment with the Transformers fights. It's time for me to have my moment with these two fights, with these next two fights. Number 3 with 15 points.
Sell your soul, take control by gold. Can you decipher the secret meaning? Line by line, wrong or right, pick a side and spread the discord to those still sleeping. Sell your soul, take control by gold. Can you decipher the secret meaning? Line by line, wrong or right, pick a side and spread the discord to those still sleeping.
Bill Cipher versus Discord.
Wow.
I will take. You know what? I will take. I will take having top 3. I will take having top 3. This is a W.
This season's poster boy. Like, let's be honest, this fight was everywhere.
Yep. For better or
Alright.
worse.
I guess this fight was an all-seeing god.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you could say that. So this was number 8 for me. Which, if you had told me that when we were starting the season, I would not have believed you. Number 6 for Richard, which was a little surprising. And who better to have this one take their own personal gold than Mr. Dog here with number 1.
Yep. This is my favorite fight of the year, and I have no regrets.
All
You
right.
know what? I am happy it got it at least. I am happy it is in the top 3, especially since I won't lie, I expected this to get lower. But I will let. Yes.
I think
talk.
I think the overall placement is like about what I expected. I think some of our individual placements was what caught me by surprise. But for me, this is number 8. So you remember we were talking about Vader versus Obito, and I mentioned that there was a fight that was coming up that you might be surprised I ranked higher than it. I was talking about this one.
Oh shoot, you did.
Yeah.
I didn't even.
I ranked this fight higher than Darth Vader. I feel like if you know me, then you probably think I'm going insane. And to be honest, you're probably not wrong. But
I mean, hey, it's fitting considering the matchup.
yeah. So I'll be honest, a lot of what I can talk about for this episode, because to be honest, like anything I could say for this episode, you guys are probably gonna say again because there's an echo in here this episode apparently. So really, what I will say, is that much like Trunks versus Silver last year, these two are both matches that upon announcement I was really dreading, because not only was I not really a big fan of the matchups in general, but just the idea of like, well, for Trunks versus Silver, it was, oh god, Silver's gonna lose, isn't he? For this one, it was, oh god, the reaction. Although to be fair, that last part, that unfortunately that came to pass, but we're not going to talk about that. But really, I think the thing for this episode for me is that it is honestly just kind of amazing that they made me give a shit Like, that's really what this comes down to. Is that wait, you're telling me that they did they did this matchup and I actually like really enjoyed it? What? Like, I mean, at that point we were 3 My Little Pony fights in and I didn't like any of them. I wasn't really a big fan of My Little Pony in general. I had not seen Gravity Falls. I still have not seen Gravity Falls. So I was like, and just I was just remembering the reactions and discussions when the last My Little Pony fight was announced and came out, and I was like, oh god, I would really like to not go through that again. Whoops. But all that aside, actually watching the episode, I honestly had a lot of fun with it, which is a feat in and of itself. It's like I'm even gonna go so far as to say it. Of all the Champions Ballot matches, both in the 2D and 3D poll, this was the only matchup I was actually hoping would not win. And not only did it win, but it also won me over. So you know what? Good on you. And I could go further, but anything else I could say, like on the actual quality of the episode? These two are already gonna say for me. So, you know what? Take it away.
Okay. I do agree. As a fan of Gravity Falls and as a brony, I've been wanting MLP to come back for a while. I think that you should have MLP come back, but that's neither here nor there. I really did like this episode. I really liked it. In terms of editing, here's quality number one. Just in terms of editing, DJ Tiki delivered his magnum opus with this. The man went all out. He came up with all new creative ways for the analyses to pop off in a way that we've never seen before, and chances are we probably will never see again, unless it has these type of characters, especially with his little cameo in there, featuring a shitload of Death Battle community people, with the exception of moi, but that's okay. I don't need attention. I don't do what I do for attention. Like so that's fine. I'm happy that these two in here got their shout outs. I'm also a big fan of the animation. I think I know that's what Bro was going to tag both of us in for. So yeah, the animation. What needs to be said that this episode delivered the best sprite animation of the whole season. It has all of the styles that we could have wanted. Even one that our very own ZDogg predicted. So big round of applause to him. And I also just want to say that the characters were on full display. Again, I know that not all of the crew are bronies, but I could feel the love for Discord's character when he was on screen with Bill. It went about how I expected it to. The multiple Easter eggs, that's the thing you want to hear us talk about. The multiple Easter eggs. A Green Day, from something small as a Green Day reference to something as big as future combatants or Death Battle people that are a big influence on the community, to something as simple as, oh, we're gonna go to old-timey rubber hose animation. No, now we're gonna go to claymation. There's another cameo. Now we're gonna go to sock puppets. And then you get to my favorite part of it, even though I don't agree with the conclusion and how they explained it. I think that there were some things that were missed out, but to each their own, I guess. Maybe that new book will help fill in some gaps that I didn't. Maybe it'll help fill in some gaps. I guess that's what I'm saying. But I do appreciate that at the bare minimum, Discord may have lost, quote unquote, but he'll be back. He will be back. You cannot really kill Discord. You can only just temporarily displace him. But the fact that he at least, quote unquote, died while saving his best friend and I guess those other ponies that he has to be friends with by association, I thought that was very, very emotional and very well done. And the track was awesome. I really love this track. It's a banger from beginning to end. With some minor flaws here and there, it didn't make my top 5. But that just comes with the territory of hey, even Death Battle can't be 100% correct with everything MLP or Gravity Falls or just cartoon related, because these are cartoons. There are some things you're going to miss. So, it's fine. But this is a solid episode, and god dang, man, the money was worth it. And I'm happy the fans got it. And if this is going to be the last time we see an MLP character in, meaning no Rainbow Dash, meaning no Rainbow Dash versus Sonic, no Applejack, no Rarity, none of that, okay, at least it went out with a bang, and I can appreciate that.
Oh, right. Well, I'm going to do the funny. If I had a nickel for every time a number one if I had a nickel for every time a number one in my season ranking involved a character from one of my favorite shows of all time who was also yellow and in a yellow shape that is an absolute object of chaos, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice, right?
You stole my bit, asshole.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm not.
It's okay.
Anyways, yes. I mean, like, come on. Like, this episode is just fantastic. Like, and if there's, like, I am going to go more in depth with it, at least, as little time as I have. If nothing else, the most concise way I can explain this one is that it feels like a love letter to the entire community. With all the cameos, with all just how much effort is put into it, with just everything. It honestly just feels like it's a love letter to this whole community. And, with it involving one of my favorite villains from one of my favorite series of all time, I mean, how could I not love it? Man, like, the analyses are super great, like, covering Gravity Falls in a great way for its first time, and having so many great jokes, both visual or just otherwise. DJ popping off at the editing, like, my gosh. Having, again, a lot of cameos in there, and just a lot of just funny visual gags. Discord, honestly, Discord's honestly made me a little more invested in checking out MLP. I won't lie. Like, I had nothing against the show, but just the way they covered the Discord and the way they used him in the fight just made me honestly really invested in him as a character, which is great. The fight, like, dear gosh, everything looks spectacular. The sprite work, the setting, all the hand-drawn stuff, which again blends seamlessly into each other. Just all the different animation styles, like the claymation, the puppets, which heck yeah, and the rubber hose looks fantastic. Both betrayals, by Paul Gia. It says Discord, and I need to check who did bills real quick.
John Patnode.
John Patnode, yes. Did a mate, which gotta say they sound spot on as Discord, not as Bill. Like my gosh, like if you were to tell me that was freaking, why am I blanking on? Of course, I'm blanking on his name now.
Alex Hirsch.
If you were to tell me that was Alex Hirsch playing him, I would not be able to tell the difference. He is that spot on, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, like, just everything just works. Everything blends together so well to make a fantastic episode. And again, the ending. Dear gosh, I can't believe that, like, they made an emotional ending out of this. And again, got me to care about Discord. Like, and again, I have nothing against MLP, but like, I actually got to care about like him like protecting the main six, and like it got me, man. Like, I don't like. You've probably heard it all before at this rate, but just I can't sing this episode's praises enough. It's just immaculate. It's not only my pick for the best episode of this season, but I think I can solidly say it has broken the threshold and become my third favorite episode of the show, which basically means it's a three-way tie between Might, Spockwoman, and, well, with Might and Spockwoman. So if that doesn't say everything that it needs to, like, I don't know what will. Like, this claps to everyone who made this episode a thing. Not well, in terms of those who made it and the ones who voted it in. Like, I just can't get enough of this episode, and I will happily call this my favorite of season 10. It's so good. Like, man.
So, John, big fight. What was it like for you?
I am legally obligated not to say anything about my involvement in this fight.
Okay.
I respect that, my fellow brownie.
Yeah,
I respect that.
Yeah, I guess I respect that.
It is a long, grueling, hate-filled world out there. And I'm doing my best.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right, and on that note, let's move on to number 2.
Yep.
And this one, I need all attention.
Okay.
So number 2 with 13 points. Scooby-Doo versus Courage the Cowardly Dog.
I knew it.
Damn that.
I knew it. I knew it.
Okay.
All right.
That's damn.
Big moment here. So all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and apologize in advance. This is my number 7.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
You know,
Stupid
because
bro, you made me look bad.
you know, because of that, I'm taking back the apology. Screw you.
Okay.
Oh.
ZDogg had it.
It's
and
cool.
ZDogg had it at number 4, and I had it. Richard had it at number 2.
Me too. Yeah.
Wow. The fact that this is his number 2 and not his number 1. I mean, with
that says a lot about me, doesn't it?
I mean, with hindsight, I guess I mean, that's not surprising. But if Richard, honest question, if you had asked yourself, if you had gone back in time and told yourself when this episode was announced, by the way, this ain't even your number 1. Would you? I would have thought that was crazy.
I would have slapped the shit out of my future self. Yeah, no, I mean, y'all can't see it, but look at what the fuck my avatar is. Crazy. I mean, especially since my BF drew this. He drew this, not for me, but he drew this.
For context, it's Bro's drawing of courage.
Yeah.
For context, it's going on screen, but just for context.
And I haven't changed it. So yeah, of course it's fucking crazy.
I should add like a background to it and then give it to you. And then you'll change it.
Oh, thank you. Maybe.
Any Hoosers, yeah, I really don't have like I really should explain myself, but I really don't have any way of defending myself here. Like it's good. Like, what do you want from me? It's like, look, like when the rest of the episodes are, let's see, we got Frieza versus Megatron, there's a Transformers fight. We got Galactus versus Unicron, just another Transformers fight. Guts versus Dimitri, Dark Souls versus Skyrim, whatever my number 1 is, wink wink nudge nudge, all that jargon. Do you really like? Does this like at that point? Does this really come as a surprise? But like, do I need to have some like crazy explanation for why this is like not in the top 5? It's still like, does that automatically mean that I dislike the episode? No. Like, I think this episode's fantastic. Like it's like, look, we said let Liam cook with Dark Souls versus Skyrim. I think this episode is proof enough to say let Luis cook. Cause he just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna run with it. You know, I'm gonna go above and beyond. I'm gonna go the extra mile. And my God, he did. And on top of some like really good analyses, more especially for me, basically everything starting with going into the horrible deeds of Eustace, like talking about Eustace, talking about their crossover together. Everything after that, I've watched so many times through like reaction videos and whatnot. I mean, both analyses on their like as like standalone are really good, but yeah. And then the fight, it's Scooby versus Courage. What do you want from me? Like, what do you want me to say? Why is this not like in the top 5? I don't know. Like, it isn't. It just isn't. That's just how this works. Like the animation is phenomenal. The voice actors are phenomenal. The track is a freaking earworm. Like it's so good. I don't take me putting it below the top 5 as me saying I dislike the episode or that I just think it's just good. No, this episode is fantastic. I love it. I'm gonna repeat after ZDogg. I just like the other ones more.
Mm.
And on that note,
Yep.
speaking of ZDogg, guess who's
And on
talking
that-
next?
It's me. It's the dog. The dog is talking about the dog battle. Haha. Anyway, so yeah, just barely made it into my top 3, but it's in my top 5. So if we take those. So yeah, I mean, like I said, what do you want me to say? like Bro said, what do you want me to say? Like, this episode is just really good. From the analyses, doing a great job of covering both characters, to the editing. Max is first on the show, which again did a spectacular job with. There being a lot of good comedy in both the analysis and the fight. Especially shout outs to the Mama Boomstick one in Scooby's analysis. That one got a good laugh out of me. And then the fight looks beautiful. Like, holy crap, Luis, what? Like, I am stunned on how he made this look as good as it did. From the combatants looking very clean, the freaking claymation abomination looking really good again, the location, the spooky manor looking amazing. Like, it's just a great looking fight. Like, come on. Not to mention, on top of that, great performances from Billy and
Edward Bosco.
Edward Bosco, yes. Thank you. Sorry, it's late. We've been going on for like almost a couple hours now. Anyway, both of them sounding great as the dogs respectively. Again, a lot of good comedy to the thumb wrestling fight, to the door scene. Thank you, and of course Columbo's there because of course he is. Like, and to also Forever Terror Night being an absolute banger once again. Like, you don't need me to tell you why this is a great episode. You've seen it, I hope. If not, I'd be confused why you'd make it this far.
This?
But exactly. But whatever the case may be, I would also freaking Asura's Wrath reference out of nowhere. Going so like that was so freaking epic for no freaking reason. Why? And I love it. Gosh, like this, like, and not to mention freaking Eustace of all characters having one of the best steps of the season. That wasn't on my season 10 bingo list. But yeah, I mean. You know, I really like this episode. Like, I don't know what else needs to be said. Does it hit the emotional marks of my top 3, or sorry, does it hit the personal connection of my top 3? Not necessarily, which is why I have the 3 ranked above it. But again, this is an absolutely fantastic episode and a doggone good time.
You deserve that.
Thank you. Gosh, dang it.
You thought we were gonna go this entire podcast without me using the soundboard. You were wrong.
We were wrong. Gosh, dang it.
Wrong.
All right, Richard.
So, as the biggest Scooby-Doo and as one of the biggest Scooby-Doo encouraged the Cowardly Dog fans here, yeah, I love this fight. This was my number 1. Spoiler alert. This was my number 1 favorite fight. But then it had to change. Look, if you expected me to have this fight to ridiculous standards, you're fucking wrong, because that would involve everyone on the crew killing themselves for my enjoyment. And spoiler alert, Luis already did that, so I don't want him to do it again. But yes, no. it was a dream come true to see both of these two together in Death Battle. It was something I've always wanted to see happen, and I'm so happy it did. I love the analyses. I love how DJ and Max tag teamed it. They both did a great job. Max for his debut episode, and also Max didn't just edit Scooby's side. He also did the teaser next time trailer when this episode was announced. And it was so fucking good. It does a great job covering them and their stories, mainly Courage, because it literally feels like Courage is a complete story, where Scooby-Doo is just, this is where he started and this is where he's gonna go. It's like Batman. We like, Scooby-Doo is that type of character that you can have be molded into anything you want him to be, but he'll never have a clear story unless you put him in something that does, like Mystery Incorporated, which in retrospective, I do regret that I didn't get to show these guys that, but I felt like we had to go with the alternative. And then with Courage, you literally got you got his whole story, including the GOAT crossover movie. Well, I shouldn't even say it's a crossover movie. It really was more of a Courage movie that just had Scooby-Doo in it. And by the way, I enjoyed that I got to show it to some of these guys here in a private screening, and they lost their goddamn minds from watching it. And I got to. Yeah, it is a fever dream. And I got to hear Brobuscus's giant sigh as he got to see Eustace work. So that was worth it. No, I'm kidding.
Are you though?
But yes, I am. But no. I also love the animation. Like Bro just said, like ZDogg just said, what the fuck do you say about this? Luis, although, so I need to say this right now, it wasn't just Luis who did this. Everybody participated in this. Like all of the VFX team, all of the people who were able to take care of the backgrounds and just make it look as good as it did. So Luis didn't have to do it all. They all deserve such a huge round of applause. And yeah, the references, the mansion in the middle of nowhere, which, by the way, John, I did see your board, and I'm so happy that you were the only one who did it, but they couldn't do it. But I understand why they probably couldn't do it. I love that how it was in the boards is you actually saw the mansion from the second opening of Scooby-Doo, and it was at the exact same kind of Dutch angle. But again, I understand they probably couldn't do that. I also loved the voice acting. Like, Edward Bosco stole the show as Courage. Like, if you would have told me that was Marty Grimstein, I would have believed you. And I also loved the references. Yeah, the classic door gag, the Duke's gag, the Azor's Wrath gag, the sun exploding feet scream, and Eustace finally getting his comeuppance, to quote Kermit the Frog from the DAU, from the Devil Artemis universe. Consider this payback for all the abuse you brought to our boy Courage over the years. That was good. And I actually loved how they just, it was a tie. That's the biggest thing I think a lot of people were, I'm so surprised a lot of people actually were okay with it. This was a draw. Like, it wasn't a gag draw. No, this was a legitimate draw. And I love how they handled it. Although, as a friend of ours told me off screen, had the crossover movie not come out, Courage would have lost. Courage would have lost because he would have had no counter to the chest of demons. And yeah, Aaron and his wife choosing to have the track just be a homage to Terror Time from Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island. Yeah, that was fucking amazing. It was. I had a lot of fun with this episode. It's objectively my favorite episode of all time, like period. And I love that I got to rewatch the whole series and the crossover movie with all of these guys here. So yeah, this episode is a masterpiece. There's not a single goddamn thing wrong with it, and if you don't like it, then I guess you have no childhood.
Damn.
Scooby-Dooby damn.
So one thing I want to add before I pass the mic to John is I mean, we kind of danced around it because like it's not really a big thing about this fight. Was that it's just kind of, it's always gonna be funny to me to like see Luis do a fully hand-drawn fight, because I will always remember him saying like, yeah, I'll do Jack versus Afro, and him admitting to being a little tipsy at the time. And then I watched this episode, and like, I know he wasn't, but I watched this episode and I get to the Asura's Wrath reference, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, are we sure he wasn't at least like a little drunk while doing this one? Like, at least like a little bit. Like, are we sure? Like, because otherwise, how do you come up with that?
Exactly. Gosh.
I should
Man.
question: was that in the script, or was that like one of you guys like just came?
We
up
all
with that?
collectively agreed that we wanted to do something like this, and I framed it exactly like Azura's Wrath. Pretty much, we all had the same headspace. We all just had to commit.
Yeah, amazing.
So how was this one in comparison? Like how like.
Actually, it was pretty interesting. On the because at first I was like, when I was first given this fight, I'm like, wait, Luis is gonna just animate it? Why do you need me? It's like Luis clearly could cook with no boards back when you made Afro versus Samurai Jack. So I'm like, why does he need me for this? But he's like, dude, you do not know how important having a clear board instruction to an animated situation like this. I made his life easier. And it was like, I continuously forget that, yes, having boards and having a clear thing, instead of having to constantly have a blank canvas and be like, my imagination could run wild, and you could probably not be able to get anything done because now it's too much you can do. Makes sense. So yeah. I was happy to be a part of this fight, because, man, whatever Luis and the rest of the team, like Zach and them, work on is, oh man, it's always great. They're really good animators.
I'm curious, since they're both hand-drawn fights, was there any like key difference like doing this one in comparison to like Rick versus Doctor?
Other than the fact that Scooby-Doo is a dog, and again, animals with me, like at least Courage is like a bean.
That's true.
Yeah, but when it comes to like, it's pretty much the same kind of principles overall. I need to make sure that the backgrounds are the backgrounds that you're gonna be. Like all the angles that were in my boards, if you line them up in the actual fight, it were pretty much 1-to-1 exact. Everything about my boards, they verbatim tried to replicate 1-for-1. So it was up to me to make sure that the vision of the script and the vision of Luis was situated. So that not a lot of like extra work had to be put into it. If you compare it, I did a pretty damn good job, and we all did a very damn good job. Love this fight.
Yeah.
How did you react to this being a tie? Because that must have come as some surprise.
Yeah, to be honest, when I first saw it, I was like, I'm pretty sure either Scooby's going to take it or there's something about Courage that I'm missing. And then when I saw that, oh yeah, well, they kind of don't die. Like, that's just it. They don't die. And yeah, congratulations, Scooby. You can blow up a universe, but that's still just a destruction feat. You can't kill them. So until you brought up the chest of demons, like, oh yeah, sealing them could work, but thanks to the special, you can break out of it with the meteor. It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
There you go.
So yeah, I like that.
Well, all right. We finally made
All right.
it. Number one, And well,
I have an intro because now I know what it is. I know what it is. I have a special thing that'll kick us into
Okay.
it. Today's the day. We're finally going to see who's stronger for the third time around. If you say so.
Yeah.
So, anyways, no, number one with 4 points.
Dear.
Number 2 for ZDogg, and number 1 for me and Richard.
Yes.
Cue the music. Goku versus Superman.
Yes, let's go. We did it.
Yep. I kind of like I said, I kind of figured this one would be number one.
Let's be honest, this really shouldn't come as a surprise.
Not
Not to present us, but imagine it telling past us.
Oh
This would
god,
be our
yeah,
collect-
no. Yeah.
yeah.
No, if you had told me this like at like the beginning of the year,
Last
before I
year.
even like knew that this fight was happening. Like if you had told me, hey, by the way, so we're doing Goku versus Superman again, I would have like you would have lost me. And then on top of that, it's gonna be like not just the best episode of the season, bar none, but it's also going to be one of your favorite episodes of all time. I would have been like,
yeah. I would have.
Are you
not
on
believed
something?
myself.
I don't like. It's like I don't drink despite being old enough to do so. But are you sure? Like you're not like.
You're not drunk.
Are you sure you're not drunk as all hell? Nope.
That-
This is the reality we live
Nope.
in.
Indeed.
It is also not lost on me. That, it is also not lost on me that 2 rankings in a row, the Dragon Ball episode has been at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could say if you had a nickel every time that happened.
All right. Anyways, I'm just saying there's a bit of a pattern I'm noticing. Maybe I'm alluding to something, or maybe I'm just like trying to
Blowing smoke.
Yeah, maybe I'm just blowing smoke. I'm poking at a bee's nest when I do this.
Oh, boy.
Okay, so
All right.
I mean,
So
Yeah.
it's Goku versus Superman.
ZDogg. Yeah.
Okay, I guess the only real
want to
thing
talk
is
about
like,
it.
I guess the only real thing we can really talk about is, hey ZDogg, how is this not number 1? And I'm only mostly kidding.
all right, noted. All right, well, I can explain myself on that front. Okay, listen, but in my mind, both Bill versus Discord and Goku Superman are like peak death battle, like, and obviously not everyone here agrees with that, but like, you know what? I don't care. I'm gonna say it. These two are absolute masterpieces. Now where it came for the time for me to choose between the two, I'm biased. um,
That's fair.
Again, Gravity Falls is one of my favorite shows of all time, and honestly, I think this is a good comparison. Like, both these episodes feel like love letters to the show. I just feel like, I don't know, I just feel like Bill Cord feels like more of a love letter to the community, and that's why I also really, really love the episode. Whereas this one is fantastic. I'm just getting that out of the way right now, obviously. I don't know, I don't know how to say this without like devaluing it. It feels like more of a love letter to the show, if that makes any sense. In comparison, like, yes, like, I don't know. It just feels like Bill versus Discord to me like has more community love, whereas this one just feels like a love for the show and the characters involved. If that does that make sense, I don't know. That's what I'm going with.
That makes sense. I'm just trying to think of ways to just make fun of it.
Fair enough.
I'm just saying we were this close to the perfect number one.
Okay, listen.
I am messing with you before you get any ideas.
I know. Gosh. But no, I mean, obviously, don't let me. I mean, it's still second place in my list. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know.
Like, no matter what I say, this episode is still absolutely fantastic through and through. Like that, like, just the animations are, well, I can't speak. The analyses are great, the animation's great, the track is great, the voice acting's great, the character moments are great, everything's great, and the ending is great. Like, come on. Like, it's just a great episode, and honestly, just, like I said, feels like a love letter to this show and for how long we've been sticking through it. It just feels like a love letter to how long we've been watching it. And yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you want me to say. Like, it's just, everything is just great here. It's just, I just have that little, I guess a little bit more bias towards Bill Cord and what that represents. I don't know. Both are great episodes. Get off my back.
I get you. I just like messing with you.
I know. Everyone does.
And you know what? I guess look, it's our number one. It's most of our number ones. What do you really want us to say? I am curious though, John. How does it feel to know, like, hey, I worked on a Goku versus Superman project.
Yeah.
I was gonna wait patiently for my turn and simply just say, man, it's weird to be a part of history. Essentially, yeah. When I watched Goku vs. Superman 1 when I was young, I mean, like a lot of us, it was like, holy shit, this is the best shit ever. Sucks that Goku lost though, and all that sort of stuff. But it's kind of like, I kind of always knew Superman could beat Goku, but it's like, you know, you grew up with this guy. Sucks to see him die. The second time it rolled around, it left a lot of people with a bad taste in their mouth. Just him, while it was cool to have Superman just casually walk through Super Saiyan Blue Kamehameha, it is kind of like he just watched through his Kamehameha.
Yes.
So, and clearly, and it's no secret, Ben has constantly said that he wanted to ratify that in one way or another, and this is his answer to that. This is him saying, we're going to treat them both with the respect they deserve, and he pulled it off immensely. This is essentially his passion project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I don't know what I agree with what Bro said. It's both our number ones. We love it. We said it a lot last time. I've been watching it on repeat for weeks now. like I go back to it more and more, and I just love it. There is nothing that doesn't make me fall out of love with it. And the analyses perfect with how they use everything for Goku and for Superman. But they mainly just use mainline Superman and a composite Goku. A semi-composite of Super and Heroes. And then you throw on Z in there as well. And Dragon Ball. And then, the animation. All of the animators, they all deserve a huge round of applause, and I'm so happy they all got to come and be a part of this, including you, including yourself, John.
Gee, thank you.
No problem. Everyone deserves a huge round of applause for being a part of history, and being able to say, hey, I got to work on a Goku versus Superman episode that is actually wholesome, because that's the thing. I think Bro said it the last time. How do you make the destruction of the whole universe wholesome?
Wholesome.
Yeah, how do you even? And then you also follow up. How do you even say that sentence? Seeing the multiple Goku and Superman, and then also getting to hear a Masako and It's Just Some Random Guy one last time for good measure. The Super song, it's amazing. The lyrics are so fucking good. It's a great spiritual successor to Alive.
Okay, yeah. On that note, I'm just gonna go out and say it. Super is my favorite death battle track. I'm just gonna put that on the table.
I can get behind that.
I'm just gonna put that on the table. I was very indecisive about what is my favorite last year. This time though, nah. I'm it's gotta be Super.
Yes. When you have lyrics I'm just saying, it doesn't matter who wins anyway. Man of Steel, forged in battle. When you have lyrics like that, it's so fucking good.
Oh yeah.
And the fact that this kind of, John and all of us said, Goku vs. Superman 1 was our gateway into what made our love for Death Battle so strong, and it felt like this episode kind of came full circle, and it was just a magical experience that I think now it's going to last longer. That really is the interesting part of it is Goku versus Superman as a debate is never going to die. But when Death Battle did it for a third time and made it the best, I kind of feel like any other future version is not going to be able to live up to something like this. They're probably going to have to resort to just having them be enemies, or maybe Superman just isn't as friendly with Goku as he was in this, or what have you. Something
I will add. I feel like this probably would be a good spot to wrap up, and is that. I remember when the first Goku vs. Superman came out, and a lot of people pretty much dubbed it the quintessential death battle. If you're gonna get into a death battle, Goku vs. Superman is probably the way to go. And if you don't like that one, then you're probably not gonna like this show. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I think this one takes that title now. It's if you're gonna show anyone a death battle, you show them this one. This episode, it just does everything right, and it does everything right when even some big name Dragon Ball fans will look at it and be like, yeah, this was a good episode. They'll just sit down and be like. I just give it the 2 thumbs up. Yeah. But Yeah, so like I said, this is not just my favorite episode of the season, like hands down. But it is also going to stand up as like one of my favorite episodes Death Battle has ever done. Which, for it being the third time doing this godforsaken matchup, is honestly kind of amazing. Like they reminded me of what made the first one so special when it first came out. And sure, the waiting wasn't as long, and sure, this not being the finale probably has some weird impact on it. I don't know, but then again, the finale was Galactus versus Unicron. You're not going to get any better than that. You're not going to get any more final than that. Yeah, no. Goku versus Superman is peak.
Yep.
This is peak Death Battle, and I will not hear otherwise.
Yep.
And thank you to everyone who worked on it.
You know, it's not every day you can get into a Goku vs. Superman fight and put Drip Goku in there and have it be official, you know?
Yeah!
There you go.
Or Scooby-Doo as Superman and Courage the Cowardly Dog as Goku.
Gosh.
Yeah, I was extremely happy, especially when they actually gave me my own little segment in the fight itself. Pretty much the entirety of the Ultra Instinct fight, pretty much just all from my head. And I love that. I was able to have someone stop the Superman punch.
Yes! Oh my god!
It finally happened. I
Thank
did. Stop
Thank
it.
you.
It's not cool anymore.
No, it's not. I hate that fucking thing. Damn you, Snyder. and we
One of
also
my greatest
got,
accomplishments, right next to
yes,
Goku.
yes, and then we also got to actually, on that note, I don't know who this was, but if it wasn't you, then also getting to see Superman do the punch, the other punch from the finale of Justice League Unlimited that he did the dark side, but do it on Goku with Infinite Mass Punch that led into the different dimensions. That was also good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that was idea pitched by Ben, and I was really happy about that, especially when he pretty much did it as a main would be like, this fight can go in many different ways with many different versions of characters. Let's emphasize that with different cracks in reality. I was like, oh man, dude, this is why you make the big books.
Yes.
Yeah, Ben definitely had the idea. Like he's been thinking about this for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
8
years. 8 years is not going on. Yeah, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like he definitely had a lot of ideas in play. It was always just a question of how.
Yeah, essentially.
But by God, he did it.
He did it. And it came out amazing.
Yeah.
And with that,
All right.
ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between, that was our season 10 ranking.
So I know we said it at the beginning, but best season?
Best season.
Best season. Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah, sure.
Holy shit. like every moment where I thought it couldn't get any better, it somehow did. How?
Let me lay down like a bit of a hypothetical. All right, we're here now, but let's say all of us go back in time to when about when the season was relatively about to start. Let's say around the time Bill versus Discord and Cole versus Alex got announced, and we're just like, okay, so we just take out a piece of paper. Here's the full lineup, and and yes, we're being serious. I'm not exaggerating in any way, shape, or form. This is our lineup. Imagine seeing that. It's like just the lineup as a whole is crazy, but then the episodes managed to be like, holy shit, like
Yeah.
And now I'm just left with the question, where the hell do we go from here? Like, we got Wiley versus Tom coming up. That'll be
Yeah.
something.
Mhm. Yeah,
And then
definitely.
Just I just want it to be good. Again, I just want to repeat this. I do not want it to be like Courage versus Scooby. That's not fair. I just want it to be good in its own right.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion, not confirming shit. I don't know anything about the actual animation process. Hell, according to Rooster Teeth, I don't even work for them right now. So, would y'all be okay if it happened to be like Rick versus Doctor kind of animation, like the 2D fight of the season?
I'd be down for that.
Yeah,
I would accept that. I would accept that, but I would be okay if it didn't. Like that's
because I was thinking about it myself, and I have no clue how we're doing it personally because they probably already talked about it in the background. I'm still the storyboard artist. I don't know shit until they give me the fight.
that's fair.
So I say best case for me. Best case obviously is Luisa says I can fucking do it again. That is best case scenario. But realistic best case scenario, it's the 2D like Cap team that kind of does.
yeah, I'd be okay with
I
that.
would be okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all right with that. Okay.
But yeah, all right.
Yeah.
With that, we've gone on for way too long, so so I'm just gonna go ahead and say that if we have John here, but if any other crew members are watching this, y'all did God's work.
Yeah, you all went above and beyond, and you deserve all the praise in the world. My gosh. Like,
And with that, we're gonna wrap up. So, thank you for watching.
Yep.
Hope you enjoyed. What is your personal ranking? I'm actually curious to know.
mhm.
And we will see you all whenever we see you all next. Take care,
Yep.
y'all.
Yep. Have a good one.